All right, everyone. Good morning. God, that's not a good start. So give me a few. We'll give it a few minutes for everyone to get in. We got one more news event coming up today. Forex. Let's see. Unemployment claims was a dud, even though it moved on the report. Nothing happened. That's wonderful. Wait till you get the people in the room. Basically, it is what, December 1st, 23 days till Christmas. We're gonna go over a little bit of a question I have for y'all, like homework assignment. We'll see how many people we can get in the room. So today's news, let's go over it real quick so far. GBP, I don't know if it moved, if it did or not, because my computer decided to update and reboot last night during downtime. It didn't have it, and that was, I freaking forgot to set it up on my VPS because I'm not trading GBP live. So I was going to trade a demo just to see how it performed, but with a 54.2 to 53.4, I don't know if it moved. Again, I'm not trading GBP live right now because its performance has been pretty shitty. And then I guess with this Italian referendum coming up, maybe that'll make for some fun too. Cable spread spiked to 12.6. Yeah, I'm still not touching cable on live. I mean, for me it was no big deal because I had it set up on my desktop, but my desktop rebooted. Thank you, Windows 10, you piece of shit. Okay, so I know most of y'all are probably here because I had a little bit of an idea, but I would need y'all to see if it's viable because it's going to have two sides to it. One, it could help out with the smaller trades and duds to cut out the losses. And Robin, are you in live? Because I'll wait for you to get in live if you're not. I think by that what you just said you are. But if you're in live, I'm going to go ahead. Okay, cool. Okay, so first, before we get it, next up, unemployment claims was a dud. We won't go over that too much. Next up's manufacturing PMI, live, Euro USD, USD JPY. Demo, I'll be throwing US CAD onto that with the other three pairs on forex.com. So that covers that. Let's close that. So let's get on to what I was thinking about. Here, let me open up a new tab. Oh, I don't need a new tab. I'm going to use, Robin, I'm going to use your spreadsheet just to pull up trades real quick since they're broken down. I can see losses real easy. Give me a sec. So what we have, I'm going to look at 10. Let's go into when you were on the VPS. So 1025, I think you were. Euro USD, you took a 10 cents loss on this one. Let's see if it would help on this one. And then I'll explain my idea too. Give me a sec because I'm opening up on one screen, then I'll bring it over. I don't know if it'd help on this one or not. Okay, so this one really nothing. It was what, a buy order. It would have gone up and then down. And you would have actually saved. Okay, let's look at the next one. I'm just going to start bringing up a bunch of charts, so don't worry. This one was a 5.5 pip loss. Control C, Control V. This one's doing exactly what I'm thinking about doing, but okay, so right now we're using an EMA as a stop loss. This is our trailing stop loss. Wonderful. What I want to do is go through all my trades on FXCM, and if someone wants to go through Pepperstone and just take a general look at it and see if this would help, is fuck a trailing stop loss. You tell it if, okay, so the coding would sound something a little bit like this. On a buy, if you get, so buy would be moving up. If you get one candle that moves down, it closes the trade. So in this case, it would have replicated exactly what happened here. It would have closed at the close of this candle. It would have the trade would have closed. Let's get into another couple. Here's a winner and see if how it would affect. Again, I don't know if this would work or not. It's just something I think that's worth looking into because a lot of times with these slow movers, they go into profit and then drop back out of profit. Now on this one, and here let me zoom in a little. So on this one, and this is what I mean, we'd have to go by and see if it's feasible. Here's our open. Price moved up to here, and then price dropped down to here and closed, where we could force a close at this point right here. And here, let me... So what I'm talking about is this is a buy. Price moves up. So instead of telling it to use a trailing stop, and this could be a variable, you could tell it one close or two close or two opposite direction candles, because we could probably set it up as a variable. But what I mean then is what is this? This is ballpoint pen, and I guess we use white. We could force it to close on this candle. Since it's a buy, we could tell it when the first candle closes the opposite direction to close the trade. So this would have actually saved you a little over 2, like 2.2, 2.3 pips. So this trade would have been 9.4, 9.6 in profit. That's the idea I have, but we'd have to go through and look at each one and see if it is viable. I don't know if it is or yet. Just from general looking through of some of them, it looks like it may be. Now the thing is on some of the bigger moves, you do get one candle down. So it might cut into a trade. For instance, this one was a negative 3.4 pip loss. Here was the open. And it closed immediately, so it wouldn't have done anything for that. But I think it's worth taking a look into. I'm just going to throw up a bunch of charts so we can take a look at it, and if I see any. So on this one, okay, so this one was, I don't know what happened here, but let's see, you took pips earned 0.3. So this one it would have opened and it would have ran to here. So what I mean is this one it opened. This is where it closed, but we could force it to run to there. Well, on the longer trades, if we get a, let's say on a buy on the longer trades, let's say we get out. Let me find one. I saw one that we would have actually lost a little on. But when we never know if they're going to be big moves or smaller moves. But what I'm thinking is in the overall picture. Oh, it's an NFP chart. Okay. Oh, yeah, it was. Okay, sorry. So this one would have been, what was this, a buy, 0.0, boop, and bam. Like I said, I think it's worth looking into. That was a 0.7 loss. Control C. And this is Euro USD. We can look at USD JPY next. So this was a sell. It would have, here's a sell. It dropped one and then it moved up. It would have closed here. So it would have been like a 2.8 pip loss instead of a 4.8 pip loss. Let's take a look at USD JPY and see how it looks. But hopefully y'all get the idea. If you're bored and you want to go through your charts, I'm going to go through all my FXCM charts this weekend. I think it would be something to look into. Here is building permits. Let's take a look at them. And this was, let's see, this was 1117 building permits USD JPY. This was a 4 pip loss, or negative 1 pip. Negative pips are negative 4. So this one was a sell, and it dropped 2, 4, 6, 8. Not sure what happened on yours here. Looks like you had a buy and a sell. And then maybe that's because you're running that tight, straddle. It might have popped. Okay, but anyway, so we get a sell. Sorry, I had a question. Okay, so the question was how long does it take? I'd have to find one still. I'm still in between. The last guy I used, he did okay with what he added in, but it took him forever, and he seemed a little confused. I don't feel very confident using him. This one, it looks like it could have changed this trade into a 2, 4, 6, 8, a 6 pip, about a 6 pips on average in. Does everyone get the idea? so we can run through charts and see if it is viable. Because I know saying it, yeah, but instead of wasting the money, I think running through the charts maybe over the weekend, we can see if it is viable. Because there are going to be some cases where it could cut into a larger moving trade. Like for NFP personally, I wouldn't use this. I'd let NFP run like crazy because NFP is going to have a couple bars down. But for these smaller trades is what I'm looking at, is we could turn this on for the trades that are only moving 2 to 10 pips or even the 20 pip moves. But for NFP it would be a standard run. But I think for the normal everyday trades, this might be a viable way to do it that might pull us in a little bit more into profit. But I have to go through all my charts and look and see if it is. It's just an idea that I think is worth looking into. I was sitting around thinking about, because I was looking at my charts and I was like, I noticed that a lot of these slower moving ones, they go up and then they stall out and then they drop down 6, sometimes for me 9 pips, and then my profit goes from like I'm at 18 pips profit and all of a sudden I'm at 8 pips profit. So I was thinking, what the hell could I do to fix that? And the reason I saw it is because I was going through my recordings of my trades. That's why I kind of like to record my trades. I know I have no life that I'm watching old trades go through, but yeah. But if you get the idea, I mean, if you want to do it, it'd be great. I'm going to do it for FXCM because I think it is something worth looking into, especially for a lot of these slower trades that what's happening is they're dropping into profit, then coming right back out to either breaking even or barely no profit, or even sometimes a small loss. And I think it would help. So it's up to y'all if you want to do it. If you don't want to, if anyone has FXCM, because I want to compare my FXCM to anyone else's, or if anyone's using something other than FXCM, because I want to take a look at a few different ones. I wish I had more data for Forex.com so I could take a look at it this way, but I just changed the pip size. But I think it is definitely something to look into. We might be able to squeeze more out of these smaller trades, because the good thing is since we're using wrinkle bars, we automatically know what our loss is going to be. So the stop loss is there, which I think for NFP is going to have to, for NFP it'll work good. But I think, I don't think it'd take that long too, but I have the feeling that it's going to cut into, because I was looking through mine, and I found 2 trades that I would have actually lost a couple pips on. But I need to go through now and add them all up and seeing if I'm gaining more pips or losing more pips as a total average. And if it can, because from what it looked like, this would have brought some of my US CAD oil trades. It would have brought the majority of my US CAD oil trades with FXCM into a small profit instead of a small loss. So that, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. And I'm not I could care less about the oil trades, but if I can open it up so I can trade them, that would be fucking great. And that would also open up US CAD as a viable trade. So that was my idea. Thank me for having no life. Hopefully it does turn out to be something that is viable. Today, like I said, it was just straight across the board duds. The reason I was going through my trades is I'm trying to rebuild my spreadsheet, because when my internet went out, I went through my spreadsheet and I couldn't find it. I had an error in it somewhere, and I couldn't find it, so I got pissed and wiped out the whole goddamn spreadsheet to start re-entering data. But I kind of forgot that I have Excel set up as an autosave, and then I forgot that I have to go through the charts and look at them. I think, Robin, honestly, that's what it's going to come out to. I do not know yet. Plus, we'd have to look at it on demo, like you said, once it's done, to see how it works and if it does actually do it. But on paper, it looks like it's going to cut into the losses heavily. And when I mean heavily, we're not taking big losses now, but I think it is going to cut into the losses quite a bit. And that would be freaking awesome if we can cut down on those losses even more. Because, I mean, if we can cut 2 pips out of each loss, a lot of times that'll put us on the very small movers. Like when you take a 3 or 4 pip loss, if we can cut that down to a 2 pip loss, that would be awesome. Now, on those ones that go, like the ones that do this shit, like for instance, let's say pretend this was a news trade. So this was our news trade, and straddle, it probably would have opened up here. So let me draw this, because this is what I'm seeing. This is where I got the idea from when I was watching the video. So here's our trade. The straddle opens it up on, let's see, 2, 4. Okay, so it would have opened up here for me. So now I go down. For me, this is okay. This is what? This is forex.com. So this is 5 pips. Here's 10 pips. So I'm 10 pips profit, but I automatically it moves up. Here's 2.5, 5, 7.5 pips I just gave back, which when I instead I should have been, what is it? 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10. It moves up 2.5. I could have only given back half of that because I could have forced it to close here instead of somewhere around here, probably this candle up here. So I would have saved a little bit of money on that. That's what I want to look at. You remember, you need to count though on Renko bars that it's not going to close here. We're going to go up. This is 2.5 pips for me, and then another 2.5 pips. So it actually moved up 5 pips before it closes. But in this case, it would have been 2.5, 6, 7, 2.5. I am so out of it. I can't even add. Here's 5 pips, 7.5. And then it hits here. So we're looking at almost 8 pips we lost. That puts us almost back into break even, plus the spread puts us into a little bit of a loss. These are the trades that have been irritating me, and I've been thinking, what the hell can we do to fix this? And I'm sure some of y'all are like that too, because you could manually watch this trade, and as soon as it closes here, you could say, oh, fuck it, I'm out, and close it. But sometimes they move too fast for that, and I wouldn't recommend it because we want this to be unattended. So I'll be looking at my charts this weekend to see if it's viable. If it is, then I'll look at getting a coder to set it up so we can do a demo on it or run it on demo. It's just going to come out to if it saves us money on average. And some months it's going to work, some months it's not. And what I mean by that is some of these bigger trades, like let's say this was the trade. Well, that isn't a good example. But let's say this was the news trade. It could have popped here, then it would close, and then it dropped a little bit more. But if we look, then it moves back and it moves back. This close and this close were about the damn same. So that's what we have to. That's what I'll be looking at, and hopefully y'all, if you want, can look at it. Again, if hopefully it's something that's viable, because I think on paper it is, but paper and real life are two different things. But if it works, I think that's kind of between everything. Since I brought y'all on board, I've gotten a lot of good ideas from y'all, and it's made me think about how the thing works too. And just the questions have made me go back and really look at the news trading course. Like the VPS, I've been running one, so I never assumed people getting on that would be a huge deal, but it was, because I didn't realize how bad your slippage was on some people's. But anyway, thanks for the feedback. This is just something that popped in there, so hopefully we can run through it. Let's talk about NFP. Robin, if you're still in, do you want to chime in on signals for Pepperstone, what you're going to be using on, I'd say Euro and UJ as a straddle, or your best ones that have worked so far? For me, I'm running, here, let me bring it up. I'm running 3 pip Renko bars on Euro USD and UJ for NFP. I'm going to be running a 12 pip straddle on both. Reason being is 2 months before, I'm just thinking a 12 pip. I'm going to do a 12 pip straddle. That's double my two of my bars. That's double my normal minimum straddle. So for FXCM, again, I'm going to be running 3 pip Renko bars with a 12 pip straddle. That's a little bit tight, but that's fine. On live, I will probably run, I know it sounds weird, but I'll probably run 13 pip straddle. But on demo, I'm going to run 12. So live 13 pip, demo 12. GBP will not be on live. Fuck them. Demo-wise, I'm going to do US CAD, EU, UJ on forex.com so I can take a look at the numbers versus FXM. I'm really interested to see what happens with forex.com. On NFP, Robin, have you been getting caught early on it? I mean, NFP is just, we all know it's a little bit crazy, but some people, the reason I'm going for the 12 pip on demo on the VPS is I think going a little bit more aggressive on a VPS because our pending orders will be updated a little bit faster. I'm hoping it can keep up with it and not pop a early trade. Now on live, like I said, I'm going to go a little bit less aggressive, and I'm going to do 13 pip straddle on live. But that's for FXCM. Robin, for 12 pip for you, I'd say that's not being very aggressive, so you should be good. As long as it moves, you should pick something up. Okay, so do we have questions? Anything like that? Is anyone going to play along and check their charts over the weekend like I am to see if basically on an opposite candle on a so sell opposite candle to see if it helps save on pips? All you have to do is run through your spreadsheet, open up the trade and look at it really. Spread still's going to take a little bit into effect, but by telling it close on opposite, we're kind of ruling out the fact of spread and getting it tripped, because the other thing that was bugging me is, let's say we were in a trade, and let's say this was the trade right here. Moves down, moves down, moves down, and then this candle right here, let's say this candle gets a 14 pip spread spike, and it closes. I've seen that on a couple of my trades. And I've seen it on one of yours, Robin, that I was looking through on yours, and I think... Oh, he never comes in here. A guy, Mark, that's in the group. He had a couple, too, that he got spread stopped in the middle of a big run down. I think this would this would kill the fact that on a move down, if the spread spikes out, that we get closed out. So it's going to have some good sides and some bad sides to it. I'm just hoping the good sides outweigh the bad sides. Because we're going to take it watching... $14.9 on Euro, 15.6 on cable, 6.1. So your best bets are looking like UJ and US CAD. But do you see what I mean why I want to look into this? Because those one tick spread spikes of we're running down, we get one tick that comes in and we get a, like, I don't know what Robin posted up, we get a 14.9 tick that has a 14.9 spread in it. All of a sudden this trade closes here and it actually moves it up to somewhere here, and all of a sudden we don't make money when we could get it to ignore that spread and move down to here and then close here. That's the goal I'm going for, is to kind of take the variable spread out of the equation but still protect our investment. So if we tell it to ignore the spread and then close here, and normally once we get going in, the spread starts dropping because it starts going back to equilibrium pretty quick. So the longer we can keep the trade open, the smaller the spread gets typically. If you look at your spreadsheet, you can see it. Right before news, it'll start climbing up, hits news, it gets a spike. It's just like a bell curve. If you don't know what a bell curve is, I hate to... This is a bell curve. I don't know if I can find a picture. Okay, so that's a... Ah, you son of a bitch. Let's see. This is a bell curve. And let's try and explain it. So, let's go with red. So, here's pre-news. Now, let's say right before news, this is it. And what I see is... And it really depends. Let's say this is news right here. Just going in general, this is what it looks like. So before news, news, and then after news. So the longer we can keep the trade open, and this is all in a matter of seconds. Like this is let's say this is a quarter of a second. Now we're at half a second. Now 1 second. It drops down that quick. So if we can keep it open without that one tick of huge spread pushing us out, I think it's going to help. And, I mean, y'all can... It's up to y'all what you think, but I really... If you go back... The reason I'm seeing this is, like I said, I'm going back and I'm watching the videos in slow motion. And then I'm watching the ticks. I keep my spreadsheet open and I'm watching the ticks. And what I'm seeing are several different things that we can make improvements on. And one of those is that after the trade freaking one tick spread explosion. Because if we can take that out of the equation, like I said, we wouldn't get out of the trade here, we'd get out of it here. So it's up to y'all, but hopefully you'll be willing to help out with the spreadsheet, or at least your spreadsheets, and give feedback on whether we think this is something good. If it is, we'll go into the coding process on it. I will look for a coder over the weekend. I don't think this is too difficult to do, although I do have one concern. But I think the catastrophic failure setting will save us on that, because I saw a couple trades that... Holy hell, kitty, stop. We'll get into it more. But first, let's see what the general consensus is on spreadsheets, if this is viable, so we can move forward. I should get some feedback on, like, basically... I should see a little bit of feedback on this trade. It would have totally fucked us. And I don't mean fucked us, I mean because I saw some trades that for some reason we get a sell, it pops up here. And this is where I noticed, this is where the catastrophic failure part came in on the EA and why we have a failsafe. Is because it will open up a sell right here. Let's say for some reason this wick opens it and it moves so fast, a sell is opened and the EA, the trailing stop didn't kick in. And then it goes down and makes profit. I've seen that several times. And that's why, and it's because the spread was too large. Right here, let me try and explain this, and this is where my concern is, so I don't want people to have to guess about it. Okay, so see this wick? Can I zoom this? Do we have a zoom button? No, we don't. Anyway, let's say this was the trade candle right here. Let's change it to white. Now this, we're going to say, is a trade. Here it is. It gets opened here as a sell because the spread is large and it drops down to here. So we get a sell order. Now because the spread is so large, it doesn't get stopped here. And you might not get this, but I bet if you look through your charts, you're going to see it once or twice. So now we have a sell order open. So this candle triggered a sell order. But because of the spread, the trailing stop didn't kick in and it moved up. This is why that catastrophic failure came in. But then it drops down and you get money out of it. I've seen it on a couple people. They made money even though the initial trade went against them over the trailing stop where it should have closed it, and then it moved into profit. So it's going to have to be a combination, since we're removing the trailing stop, if in this case, that 2, 4, 6. See, I would have needed a 6. I'd probably bring in my catastrophic failure to 8 pips for me. 8 to 10 pips, because right now I'm running 15. I'm actually bringing it into 10 on everything, because I don't want to take a loss more than 10 pips. Okay, I'm trying to think what else. Except for NFP. Ignore me for NFP. That's just no. So hopefully everyone gets the idea. If you don't, hit me up, please. I would love to get some more feedback than just me and Robin. So please, please. I can't think of anything else. And we got news in what, an hour? 30 minutes? Let's see. In 1 hour. So we got 59 minutes till next set of news. I'll be living it, Euro and UJ. Trying to think what else. Do we have questions, concerns? NFP questions? Is this anyone's first time trading NFP? Don't do it live, do it demo. Oh, excuse me. I need water. But just like I said, just from the general look, I do think it's going to pull out. It's going to pull us into a little more profit. It is possible it's going to cut into a few, but I think overall it's going to help. But I need to, for me, I'm not a guess person. I need to go through my spreadsheet, see if it looks viable on paper, on FXCM. If I can get feedback from someone on Pepperstone, if it looks viable, then we'll move on to getting it coded. Trying to think anything else. I really can't think of anything else. I will leave it open for questions for 2-3 minutes, and if not, I went. Or I didn't even get to go to the bathroom. I dropped my daughter off, ran back, did the trade, and so I need to go to the bathroom. But we'll cut it, and then I'll go live right after the 9 o'clock trade. We'll review that one. I don't even know if it's worth taking a look. This thing didn't move, and I didn't see the spread really move, so it's not worth taking a look and comparing Forex.com and FXCM. I'm going to work on my spreadsheet for the next hour because I need to add in a column for Forex.com so I can compare the spreads. I was just kind of winging it at first, but it's become pretty clear that Forex.com may be a viable alternative and much better. I am going to switch. The other thing I'm going to do, just FYI, I know it doesn't matter to y'all, but I'm going to switch Forex.com to the Amazon VPS, move my FXCM demo back to my computer. I want to see, because the one thing that does concern me with Forex.com, and maybe y'all are seeing this, I get less ticks coming in on my desktop than I do my VPS, which makes sense because the communication's faster. Which that's the way it should be, but I just want to make sure that Forex.com isn't lacking in ticks, because that can burn us in the end too. And if by the middle of next month Forex.com is still looking good, I'm probably going to go ahead and give them a call, like actually call them up because they're 100% US legit, and talk to them about just basic. I basically give them a heads up how I trade and what I do, and to make sure that there's no issues with it. It's one of the nice things about having a legit broker is you can actually call and talk to them. But any questions? Anything else, guys? Gals? Anyone? Kind of excited to go through the spreadsheet, to be honest, yeah. To see if this is going to save it. It looks like it just from my general when I was running through real quick. It looks like it is on average. It's a bunch of pips it's going to save, and some on the small burnout trades, it's going to save on average about 2 pips, which brings a lot of them into almost a no loss, or even some of them into a small gain. On the medium trades, where I'm making a little bit of pips, it increases it by, from what I was seeing, it increases the profit on them by 5 to 8 pips on average, is what I was seeing. Again, this was just a general first look. I wasn't entering numbers into a spreadsheet, which I need to go back and do. But what was concerning me is I need to see how much we lose on some of these bigger trades. Because if one of them was a 26 pip trade, and it would have dropped it down to like an 18 pip trade. So I need to see if that balances out. And that's what hopefully y'all can help out with. I'm trying to think. Anything else? Let me see the date. I know this sounds stupid and y'all don't have to participate in anything, but I'm just going to put it out there later today. As y'all know, I am involved with like the VA pretty heavily since I'm a veteran. Where I live in the Valley, we have a homeless rate for veterans that's about 20% higher than anywhere in the country. We do a Christmas dinner for them on the 22nd. And we're having a little fundraiser. Y'all don't have to donate, but I'll put it out there because I mean every buck extra that I can pull in for it is more food we can get for them. Again, no one is obligated to donate for it, but when I go out with my friends, I ask them for it because it's something that I believe in a lot. If it's something, but I'll put out directions. If anyone wants to by chance donate to it, I'll put out how to do it because it has to be done a certain way to keep it legit for me. Otherwise, I can get in trouble because I'm all legit with the IRS now. Other than that, we got 53 minutes till the next news release, so I'm going to shut up. I'm going to start going through some spreadsheets, looking at this. Maybe I can get it done by tomorrow and have some feedback on it and see. If anyone gets it done, let me know. Give me your results. And I'm going to start taking a look at my spreadsheets. If you have FXCM and you don't want to go through it, because I did miss a few trades due to computer reboots, and I'd like to get a general big picture, because I missed a 26 pip move last month that I'd like to get in there. So if anyone has FXCM and they want to send me their spreadsheet, that would be great, because I want to fill in a couple little blanks on mine from computer reboots, and I got a power outage once. I've had 3 internet outages, so I've missed a few trades here and there. So I'd like to get a complete picture instead of making a half-assed decision on this. Alright, can't think of anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and take a break, guys. I'll be back right after the next news release. And hopefully it moves because I'm interested in, again, comparing Forex.com with FXCM. But I'm trying to think. Maybe I'll switch Forex.com to the VPS and while during this, then I'll worry about the spreadsheet after that. I got a lunch meeting for the fundraiser for the homeless vets in our area, so I will not be available for lunch at all. We're going to meet about that because we have flyers and everything we have to hand out and put up so people can do donations and things like that. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all later after the newsy. I'm going to go ahead and switch my accounts around real quick.